Hey everyone, Justin from Core Performance here with a quick review video on this Vertx Transit Sling. We actually get a ton of questions all the time about different gear recommendations, EDC, plate carriers, ventilation, hydration, you name it. People ask us for gear recommendations all the time. Hopefully it would be very helpful for you guys. So without further ado, let's get into it. I think I've been using this for about 18 months or so, so I've got a fair amount of time into it. I used to use the Gamut backpack, and it was really cool, but I found that it was actually just a little bit too big for my needs every day, commuting to and from the office. Just didn't need that full backpack. And so the Transit Sling really presented itself as something that was a lot more convenient, I think more right-sized to my EDC needs, and we'll kind of dig into that here in a second. So that's kind of the why, it's the philosophy of use. I do like to be able to carry all of my options and my tools on me every day, but I don't overdo it. I think I like to keep it light and as minimalist as possible, pretty much consistent with a lot of our design philosophies here at Core Performance, which are all rooted largely in maneuverability, speed, agility, freedom, etc. And I think that the Transit Sling strikes a nice balance. It does have some shortcomings though, and they're pretty important ones. I'm not going to say big, I'm going to say important though. So you'll want to stay tuned to those, and we'll definitely get into those here in a bit. So let's get into it. For starters, I think the Transit Sling is about 16 inches tall, which I think is actually a very, very good height for carrying a lot of really important things, but not being so big where it really gets in your way. And it's very, very convenient for the draw. It's actually, I think, the perfect size for the draw, really much better than the large backpacks. So diving into the bag, we're going to basically just start from the front and go towards the back. So outside of the away from the body, towards the body. So this is probably one of my favorite features of the bag that I think that Vertx did really, really well. And that is this outside pocket that is able to conceal your tools. And so I'm going to go ahead and open it up here for the purposes of the video. It's not normally how I run it. I do run this panel fully closed every day because it's not super easy to open, but I think that's by design. I don't even know what that is. I think that's an old insurance card that I just didn't need and for some reason was in there. Now, just to be clear and for full disclosure, I did not prep for this video. There's no incentives or partnerships or anything like that. This is literally just like the raw deal, what I carry every day. Starting here in the front of this pocket, you can see that what Vertx did here, which is really cool, is they gave you a U-shaped zipper that allows you to conceal this, what's MOLLE field that's underneath these pouches and whatnot, which I think is great because I do like to have all of these tools with me, but I don't want MOLLE or anything like that. I don't want any of these things visible, but I do want them to be easily accessible. So nice job there, Vertx, with the especially easy to grab. Again, not super easy to close this panel, but I think that's actually a very, very good thing because you don't want this panel to be easy to open and close. You want this panel to be easy to open and access this way, which is kind of how I do it. So opening up this panel and going onto the MOLLE field itself, a set of bamboo cutlery that I picked up at REI like literally 10 years ago. I just think it's super wasteful whenever I go out to eat or we get lunch here at the office and people hand you all kinds of plastic cutlery that you just use once and throw away. Maximizing the utility of everything is really a foundational principle here at Core Performance. These things go through TSA, no problem. They are approved, so it's nice and easy, but they're just a higher quality eating experience, I guess, if you want to go there, because they're rigid. They're made out of really high quality bamboo, so you don't have to deal with like the breaking plastic forks, the breaking knives, and all that crap that honestly makes single-use plastics kind of a pain in the ass. So we'll just go left to right here. I got a SOG Aegis. This is my EDC knife. I love this thing. I've had this thing about 6 years. I sharpen it with a Edge Pro Apex at home. Phenomenal knife. Can't recommend that highly enough, and it wasn't even super expensive. So Streamlight ProTac 1L AA. Love this light. Very small, very compact, and now that they've gone to this dual fuel single battery format, I think the form factor is now literally perfect. I know some people out there say that they've had problems with Streamlights on duty or whatever. I can tell you that I was issued Streamlights by my department. and we had no issues with them like ever. I know your mileage may vary, other people may not like them, but I love them, so that's why I still trust and carry Streamlight. Theorem Cell Vault, love this thing. It's just obviously it's extra batteries. I don't need to go into that. Pretty self-explanatory. I've got my old cuff key tucked underneath here in the MOLLE, underneath these Blue Force Gear 10-speed pouches, which I absolutely love. And I think these pouches were what turned this pocket from something that was a great idea to something that is super, super useful every day. So I keep a little Night Eyes S-Beaner down here. That's actually remarkably useful. So this is kind of where I find the Blue Force Gear 10-speed pouches to be just totally awesome. It's a phenomenal wallet holder, okay? And then this is a card case, a RFID shielding card case by Output Good, which is a division of Silent Pocket. Easily my favorite wallet of all time. 2015 or so, 2016, when I met Aaron at Silent Pocket, and I've been running one of his wallets ever since then. Aaron's stuff is really reasonably priced, but it's an excellent value, great build quality, delivers a phenomenally clean and simple look, still protects all of your stuff, which I think is hugely important, protects basically your chips and whatnot that are in your cards. I can't say enough great things about Output Good and Silent Pocket, so if you don't have one, honestly, just like click on the link that we'll put in the show notes and go buy one. These things are the bomb. Covered the Theorem Cell Vault. Okay, so going back to these Blue Force Gear 10-speed pouches, this MOLLE field here in the Vertx EDC pack is a great idea, but it's not super useful unless you put the right pouches on it. I think Blue Force Gear has the absolute right-on design philosophy. They're light in the load, very consistent with our values here at Core Performance in terms of they focus on weight, we focus on temperature regulation, but we just love the clean look. I just happen to have these as samples from a trade show, and so they went right in here and they happen to fit my wallet perfectly, so boom, in they go. I bought this 10-speed pouch, this black one here myself, maybe 4 years ago or so, and this thing has held up great. These multicam 10 speeds that I got as trade show samples have held up great also. Don't have enough great things to say about these. So then moving over, this 10-speed pouch carries my EDC Coin Purse, which is a product that we make here at Core Performance. I absolutely love this thing. Designed it to fit a personal need that I had, which is I hated that whenever I flew or went to states behind enemy lines, California, New York, Illinois, Maryland, looking at you guys, now that I don't have my badge anymore, couldn't carry concealed anymore since I didn't retire, so I don't have permanent HR 218 retiree benefits. And this was a phenomenal tool to be able to keep safe, carry change, be very, very useful. And this 10-speed pouch just happens to carry our coin purse, I mean literally perfectly without any effort. I can tuck the handle lanyard in to the front MOLLE, just a phenomenal overall execution and very, very practical thing. Just love that. So that's the outside pouch. I'm not gonna fully close it back up. Going inside the bag here, so you can see it opens, I think, just enough. That's kind of what I'm going to say. It doesn't open all the way where things kind of can dump out. And in a sling bag, I think this is actually a pretty good opening. If the bag were smaller, I would probably want it to be able to open all the way to access all the contents. If the bag were larger, I would also want a full clamshell for two very different reasons, though. But for this particular bag, this size, this design, I think it's great. This is a very, very special patch to me. 10 Edward Sam 5 was the call sign of my best friend, one of my best friends at my department, Don Parker, and this was his call sign. He lost a battle with cancer. I miss him every day, and so I carry this around just to kind of as a memento, as a way to remember him. He taught me everything I knew, or I know, I guess, about law enforcement. He was my mentor, my buddy, my PT partner, my shooting buddy. I really miss you, Don. So that's 10 Edward Sam 5. We did a run of these patches when Don passed, and we donated 100% of those funds to his wife, Missy. Moving on here, this is these pouches. I don't know exactly what Vertx designed them for. I keep AirPods in here, stylus in here. This is great for social media, modern day stuff. This is a worthless mind control device, also known as a mask. Can't wait to burn that thing. It's fucking useless anyway. A couple of pens, self-explanatory. Chapstick down here, also self-explanatory. In here I keep a iPad Pro 11-inch, I believe, and then my MacBook Pro 13-inch so that you can see kind of what fits in here perfectly. You can actually put a little bit more. I sometimes will put a book if I'm reading, you know, whatever book I'm reading at the time, also fits here. And then you can kind of stuff a spare shirt or something else here. I've put all kinds of various things, but that's about what you can max it out at. I do not run an armor panel in here, you know, but you can if you're into that kind of thing, for sure. That's the main pocket, okay? Getting to the main show, which I know everybody's probably most excited about. So this handle, I do want to say, is totally badass. This pull handle, I think it's part of Vertx's patents. Phenomenally well designed, great idea here. This is our Thin Blue Line Stay Frosty patch that we used to include with our LE orders, and we're doing a new one now so that the new one's gonna be really cool. So keep an eye out for that. We'll get into this main pocket in a minute. I do want to talk about the backside. This is my least favorite part of this pack. I actually think this part of the pack sucks. And again, always with everything we do here at Core Performance, you're going to get real talk, real truth, and full transparency. I love a lot of the parts of this bag, but this spacer mesh is garbage. And I hate the way that this bag is designed. It's very, very hot. It's sweaty. It's not comfortable. It's a total myth that spacer mesh provides any type of airflow whatsoever. This is just high density garbage, and everybody uses it because it's cheap and it's readily accessible, it's easy to sew, it's easy to manufacture, but it's not actually any good, and it's frankly terrible for the end user. If you were to take the spacer mesh off and hold it up against a fan, you would be shocked at how little airflow, and I mean like zero. And if you ever wear this thing around any type of hot day, any type of hot climate, you'll know that its spacer mesh is incorrectly named. It's actually, its correct name should be sweat mesh, and that's really what it is. You need to use better materials here. You know, personally, if I were redoing this, and I have thought about redoing my own personal bag here, I would put our ice vents as a back panel here. It's just a much better technology. I don't even mean that to like plug our ice vents. That's not really what I'm trying to do. I really am just saying I hate the spacer mesh back, and it just leaves a big sweat mark on my back. And then when I roll up to TSA, they always like pull me aside because they're like, "Sir, we need to pat you down on your back." And if you look at the backscatter radar or whatever that screen is, I just have this huge spot, and it looks like I'm trying to sneak something through it. And when in fact, as soon as I turn around, the TSA guys are always, or gals are always like, "Oh, you're just sweaty." And then they pat it down, and then off I go. But that is the net effect of this spacer mesh back here. Again, total garbage. I wish this thing was gone. I may end up just ripping this off and sewing on a nice vents panel. So back onto the shoulder strap, reasonably well designed and reasonably comfortable. Not great with a really heavy load for an extended period of time, but with a heavy load, it's totally adequate over short distances, i.e. walking from the parking lot to your office, or maybe through an airport terminal. This thing, not so comfortable if the load in here is heavy. So getting into what I can't carry when I'm on the plane. So this is my EDC defensive tools in here. I've got a Glock 19 Gen 4. It's been Cerakoted by our friends at We Plead the Second. It is hot, so I'm just going to handle it carefully and keep the muzzle pointed in a safe direction. We Plead the Second did a phenomenal job with laser stippling everything here, which is super, super cool. So good job, guys. I keep it in a hard Kydex holster. I know that Vertx does make the Tactigami holsters. I'm also not a fan of those for the gun, because I just think it's a little bit hard to really keep a consistent draw the way you can with a true Kydex holster. So that's why I do that. PMags all the way. And then now this is where Tactigami rocks. Tactigami is awesome for accessories, reloads. I keep a Leatherman Skeletool in here, which is totally awesome. Again, Tactigami works absolutely phenomenally for that. These are a couple of jersey cuffs. Big shout out to Jersey Tactical, our boy Clem up there. These things are great, very, very small. I like Mil-Spec Plastics Cobra cuffs too. Those are phenomenal, I think, as a duty cuff. I like the jersey cuff a little bit better for an EDC type scenario. I am a big believer in carrying a pair of restraints, because lethal force is the absolute last thing you want to ever have to engage in. Subduing a bad guy and being able to execute some type of restraining maneuver is definitely preferable, so that's why I carry those. And then I've got one PMag reload. Pretty simple there. If it was helpful, you did enjoy this video, if you could smash that like button, hit that subscribe, share the video with somebody you think could really benefit from it, and drop a note in the comments below. Let us know your thoughts on what you EDC. We'd love to hear it. You know, always encouraging learning from other members of the community. We love learning from you guys. We hope this was beneficial and that you guys could learn from at least something from it, and that it was a value add for your day. So again, thanks again for joining, guys. And then until next time, stay frosty.